Well, the president talked earlier about cutting off trade talks with Canada. Market came back a little, but now it's up again. And we bring Doug Flynn in with 4 minutes left in the trading session, co-founder at Flynn Zito Capital Management. I know you like being here on record days, so we have you on a Friday, and it looks like we're going to get this. So perspective for people who were, shaky earlier in the year as they look at the market and where it's at right now.
Right. Well, if you think about what Trump was elected for, was business-friendly policies. And so we got far away from that with all the tariff insanity. And so, now that he's removed a lot of that, or at least a lot of the uncertainty. And this morning we woke up that they were going to have a deal with China and maybe 10 nations. So that is what drove this the rest of the way, because they're saying, hey, we're going to get back to those business-friendly policies. And then, of course, speaking about Canada, maybe we're cutting off a deal that drove it back down a little bit, but it can't erase what we're feeling longer term, and that's the backdrop of what drove it a little bit farther today, along with, hey, the outlook for interest rates and everything else. But corporate America is going to do well in that environment, and that's what the market's looking to. And so as long as that comes through and we don't blow it up, then this is an adequate representation of where we should be.
Who could blow it up? The president? I mean, the president himself talks about the fact that the only thing wrong with the market now is Powell, and the rates should come down, right? But before we say, oh, it's so uncertain, what's he going to do? Is the assumption now that he's not going to be overly aggressive on these tariffs? And if that assumption is wrong, then would we be in trouble? But is that what people are assuming?
I think that they think you're going to get a deal, whatever that is, and it'll be slightly better than what we had before. It's not going to be these crazy numbers. But, that being said, the market itself is extremely overvalued. It's basically almost 30% over its long-term historical average with this recent run-up. So, and the way that works, as you know, is there's a price and there's an earnings ratio, and the price has gone up, but the earnings, all these companies have downplayed their earnings because of the tariffs. So the earnings look poor, and so the prices have come up, and that ratio is out of whack. So one of two things has to happen. Either those earnings really do come on strong because the tariffs aren't as bad as they are, right, or these prices are overvalued. And so the market's banking on the earnings part's going to come through, and this is a proper valuation, and better lies ahead. So we'll see if that's correct.
Companies have to deliver. The other thing, and I think we'll probably talk about this later in the show, for as strong as the stock market has been, there are concerns in some people's minds about the housing market. What do you make of this? This is a piece from Axios, says that the housing market is in the absolute dumps, was the headline that they had. Is that true? Of course, we don't really have one housing market in this country, but what's going on in housing?
Housing is not in good shape from the standpoint of, if you're a younger person trying to buy, that's really the problem. Yeah. Because we have all-time high valuations on real estate in almost every place. And with interest rates so high, the affordability is terrible. So even though more is coming online with people wanting to sell, the buyers aren't there yet. And we've underbuilt for so long, so there's not enough spots for everybody. And that's part of the problem. So the valuations are high, the interest rates are high, and when you add those two things up, that means that housing is not going to be a great spot for people. It's the affordability. So hopefully that will improve, and that's what we're looking for.
All right. Now, in the meantime, stock market's the story. Thank you, Doug.